I found the radio during a power outage. The entire apartment building had gone dark that night. No television, no internet, no sound except the wind outside and the distant hum of rain against the city. I remember sitting near the window, watching headlights move slowly through the wet streets below, trying to ignore how quiet everything suddenly felt. That's when I noticed the box in the corner of the room, old, dust-covered. I had seen it before while unpacking months earlier, but never bothered opening it. Inside was a small vintage radio, silver edges, cracked speaker fabric, a tuning dial that barely moved anymore. It looked older than the apartment itself. At first, I thought it was broken. The building had no electricity anyway, but for some reason, I placed it on the table beside the lamp and turned the dial. Nothing, just silence. Then, a soft crackle. I froze. The radio lights flickered faintly for half a second, then disappeared again. I turned the dial slowly. More static, a distant frequency drifting in and out like a voice underwater, and then nothing. I should have gone to sleep after that. But something about the sound stayed with me. So the next night, I tried again. 1:06 a.m. Still nothing. 1:07. The radio turned on by itself. Static filled the room softly, not loud, not aggressive, just enough to make the silence feel alive. Then music started playing, an old piano melody, slow, melancholic, the kind of song that feels familiar even when you've never heard it before. I sat there listening for almost 10 minutes, and just as suddenly as it started, the music stopped. Then a woman spoke. "If anyone is listening tonight." Her voice was calm, warm, almost comforting, like a late-night radio host from another time. "I hope you made it home safely." That was all she said. Then the signal disappeared. The next night, I waited for it. I told myself I was only curious. Nothing more. 1:07 again. Static. Music. Then her voice. "The city feels lonelier when it rains." I don't know why that sentence stayed with me. Maybe because it was true, or maybe because of the way she said it, like she wasn't talking to thousands of listeners, like she was talking to one person, me. After that, listening to the radio became part of my nights, no matter how tired I was, no matter how early I had to wake up. At 1:07 a.m., I sat beside the radio, waiting. Some nights she told stories about empty train stations, late-night cafes, people who disappear from our lives quietly without warning. Other nights, she just talked about loneliness, not dramatically, not sadly, just honestly, like someone describing the weather. And strangely, it helped. The apartment didn't feel as empty anymore. The nights didn't feel as long. Sometimes I even caught myself speaking back to the radio, as if she could hear me somehow. Weeks passed like that, until one night, everything changed. The rain outside was violent. Thunder shook the windows. The city lights flickered beneath the storm. 1:07 came. The radio turned on, but there was no music this time, only static, heavy static. Then her voice finally appeared, quieter than usual, almost shaking. "Tonight feels different," she whispered. For the first time since I found the radio, I felt afraid, not because of her voice, because somehow it sounded real, too real. "I don't think much time is left," she said softly. The static grew louder. I leaned closer to the speaker without realizing it. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Thank you for listening every night." I stopped breathing for a second, and then, very gently, she said my name. The room went completely silent. The radio died instantly, no static, no light, nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there staring at the radio while rain slid endlessly across the windows, trying to convince myself I imagined it. The next evening, I searched online for the station frequency. Nothing. No results. No station existed there anymore. Eventually, I found an old forum discussing local radio history. Buried deep in one of the pages was a single black and white photograph, a late-night radio station from decades ago, and standing beside the microphone was her. Below the image was a date. The station had shut down 23 years earlier. After a fire, no survivors were listed. I stared at the screen for a long time after reading it, then slowly looked back toward the radio sitting silently beside the window. It's raining again tonight. The apartment is dark. The clock says 1:06 a.m., and even now, part of me is still waiting for the static to return, because loneliness does strange things to people. It makes us listen carefully to voices we shouldn't hear. It makes empty rooms feel alive. And sometimes, late at night, when the city grows quiet enough, it makes us believe someone out there is listening too.